Hey everyone, welcome to Sequence of Instructions. Thanks for joining me. In this video we're going to be learning about conditionals. Conditionals are one of the strongest characteristics of a language. Basically lets you control the behavior of your program based on the state of data. And what I mean by that you'll see in a second, but in almost all languages conditionals take the form of if and else. Okay, basically what happens is whatever is in between these two parentheses is going to be evaluated as a Boolean. If that Boolean is true, in this case I just wrote true, true as a Boolean is true. If this condition here is true, this is called the condition, it will do whatever is in here. If the condition is true, do this. I spelled condition wrong. If the condition is not true, it says else. In every other condition, in every other case, we're going to do this. So if the condition is false, do this. All right. So again, if else, this is the generic if condition. The actual conditional is in between these two parentheses, and whatever you put in there is going to be evaluated as a Boolean. And if the evaluation of that Boolean is true, it'll do what's in between these first two curly braces. If the evaluation of this condition, this Boolean, is false, it'll do what's between these two curly braces. All right, just to demonstrate this really quick, we'll just log yes if it's true, and we'll log false, or I'm sorry, we'll log no if it's false. So here, my condition is true because true is true. We'll see log yes, and now if it changes to false, my condition here is false. False is not true. It will log no. Okay, and at the very surface, this is all conditionals are. They're pretty straightforward, but when used cleverly, they can be extremely, extremely powerful. And let's see this as a practical example. So let's say I want to make a program that will tell my user, given his or her age, whether or not he or she is old enough to vote. So let's make a variable called age, and the voting age in the United States is 18, so we'll say my age is 20. And I'm simply going to check, all right, based on some condition, I'm going to either say you are old enough to vote, or I'm going to say you are not old enough to vote. All right? And so the condition I want to check here, rather than just saying false, if I just wrote false, it would always just say you're not old enough. Excuse me. Save this. Okay. It'll say you're not old enough to vote. You're not old enough to vote. So that's not an interesting program. What we want it to do is change what it says based on the state of the data. And the data in particular we're dealing with is this age variable. So the condition we want to check is how old you are relative to some benchmark age to vote. Like I said before, in the United States that age is 18. So we're going to say if age is greater than or equal to 18, you are old enough to vote. Otherwise, in all other cases, you're not old enough to vote. Now, if you don't know what this greater than or equal to sign is, I'm sure most of you know what greater than or equal to signs are. But if you're curious about the power of Boolean and how to make complex conditionals, check out the video that came before this in the Learning to Code playlist. I think it was titled Logical Operators. You'll learn a lot about Boolean, get some good practice in there, and it'll prepare you for this video. Okay, but back to this. So basically, we're simply checking: is your age greater than or equal to 18? If it is, we say you're old enough to vote. If it's not, we say you're not old enough to vote. So let's run this. I said my age was 20 here, so I should expect it to say I'm old enough to vote. Perfect. But let's say a 14-year-old person who's using this program, it would have to sadly say you are not old enough to vote. And that is if-else conditions in a nutshell. There is an extension of this that we're about to go into, though. So let's say maybe as kind of like a compromise, a sort of, thanks for playing prize, I have a second check and I say, well, maybe you can't vote, but if you're over 16 in the US, you can drive, and that's pretty cool too. So the way we might do this is we might say, all right, well, if you're not older than 18 in this else part, you're definitely less than 18. We might want to check again. Are you older than 16? And if you're older than 16, we might say you are not old enough to vote, but you can drive. And that's exciting. And unfortunately, in all other conditions, you're just not old enough to vote. Sorry, You'll have to wait a couple years. So just to run through this really quick, we say, all right, if you're over 18, can I move this? Great. If you're over 18, you're old enough to vote. If you're not over 18, we're going to check something else. We're going to say, well, are you over 16? And if you're over 16, we'll say, well, you're not old enough to vote, but you can drive a car. There it is right there. In all other cases, though, we just say you're not old enough to vote. So let's run this at 14. You're not old enough to vote, but if you are 17, 17 is not greater than or equal to 18, you can't vote, but it is greater than 16, so you can drive a car. So you're not old enough to vote, but you can drive a car, and that's worth something. That's great. Now this can get pretty messy, you can imagine. If you want to check a few different things, we'd have these ifs trailing down this way, right? Like I have to do another check here, if age is whatever. Or sorry, in this else part, okay, so like, well, what if age is, well, are you a teenager, right? If I want to do that one. And you can kind of see how these indent, and if you had a lot of these, they would string pretty far down. And that can be hard to read and look sloppy, and it's not great. So there's a neat little tool called the else if. So currently we just talked about if and else. Here's if, here's else. Well, there's something called an else if. Most languages have this. Some of them have it written differently, but here in JavaScript, your else if simply takes the form of this. So I can get rid of this guy. Bear with me one moment while I clean this up for you. This is basically what it looks like. So let's get rid of these comments here, just so it's a little cleaner to read. So we say if age is greater than or equal to 18, we do this. Else, that means, all right, it's not greater than or equal to 18, but maybe you want to do another evaluation. We're not ready to just say everything else should be treated the same. You want to treat a subset of the difference differently. So here, all right, well, if it's not greater than or equal to 18, check, is it greater than or equal to 16? Right, so just do that again. If, here we can say if it's greater than or equal to 18, do this. Else, it's not greater than or equal to 18, check, is it greater than or equal to 16? And if it is greater than or equal to 16, do this. Else, as in this wasn't true, this wasn't true. If both of those aren't true, just finish up with this one. This is the final condition. And now you can see I can string these down here. Are you over than 13? Great. We can console log, you're a teenager. Whoops. You're a teenager, right? We can also do another. We can say else if you're over 5. We can say you go to school. In the United States, you start school at 5. Right? And so now we can trail these secondary conditions in a nice, orderly format, and I'll read them right in order. So just to demonstrate that this works, let's say I'm 6. I should expect to see you go to school, because I'm not 18, I'm not over 18, I'm not over 16, I'm not over 13, but I am over 5, and that's worth something. So there it is. A caveat here, though, is these do execute in order. So first it's going to check this one, then it's going to check this one, then it's going to check this one. It's not going to find the one that fits best, right? So if I said I'm 14 here, well, this would be false, this would be true, you're a teenager. But if we put this else if above it, that is to say, oops, here, sorry. So if we did this, oh my goodness, my fingers betray me. Okay, so if you did this, yes, I'm 14, yes, I am a teenager, right, because I'm 14, but I'm also greater than 5. My age is over 5. So this would evaluate, and then none of these would evaluate, because it found its true condition here. Right, so just to go over that one more time, my age is 14, and the way we had it before, where it went 18, 16, 13, 5, it would have told me you're a teenager, right? Because this would be the highest value that I match on. But because of the way we ordered these else ifs, right, where we check 5 first, it's actually just going to say you go to school, because 14 is not greater than or equal to 18, so it's going to check the next one, and 14 is greater than or equal to 5. So it will do this, and once it's done that, it's going to exit these if-else conditions and carry on with the program down here. All right, so just to show that that's what happens, there you go. So be careful. This is a powerful tool. You can do a lot of amazing branching and logical behavioral changes according to using if-else conditions, but be careful how you order your else-ifs, because they do matter. That will come into play, and this is a mistake that even to this day I'll make in programs that I write. I won't consider that a condition ahead above the one that I think I'm working with actually satisfies before it. So anyway, that's basically conditionals for you. I encourage you to play around with it, maybe make your own little mini program to do other things, and let me know what you think. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you.